Nathan, are we ready? Is there anyone online at this time? Barb. Okay, thank you. All right, it's 6:30. Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here this evening. This is the City Council meeting for the City of Fairway, Kansas, Monday, April 14th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I have one announcement. Item B under new business. We will pull that from the agenda. GFL, Green for Life, our solid waste disposal service, has not yet finished the contract.
Just have to get the rest of the paperwork in order first.
Okay, all right, so as soon as they get that paperwork done, hopefully it'll be on the agenda for next month. So we'll remove that item. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have two proclamations that I would like to read into the record. The first one concerns Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the City of Fairway, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 14th day of April, 2025. And if I could make a comment, which I think I can, I would say that the flowering trees this year are the most beautiful that I've seen in years. I don't know if it was the cold winter, if it was all the moisture we've had, a combination of that, or it was just the right time in 2025. But enjoy the trees. The next proclamation I have is Earth Day 2025. Whereas April 22nd is officially recognized as Earth Day, and whereas Earth Day is an opportunity to renew America's commitment to preserving and protecting the state of our environment through community service and responsible stewardship. And whereas the global theme for Air Day 2025 is Our Power, Our Planet, is a call to focus on renewable energy and urging a global shift to triple clean electricity generation by 2030. And whereas on Earth Day, let us recognize the role that each of us can play to increase awareness about the importance of environmental education and spur progress towards global environmental and climate literacy. And whereas the City of Fairway supports Earth Day to raise awareness on the impact our actions may have on our environment and the earth as a whole. Now therefore, I, Melanie Hepperly, Mayor of the City of Fairway, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2025 as Earth Day in the City of Fairway, and I encourage all citizens to take responsibility to care for the world in which we live. Dated this 14th day of April, 2025. Next on the agenda are the monthly reports of the standing committees. Consolidated Fire District Number 2, we will let Chief Chick's report stand as written in the packet. Nathan, you don't have any further comments on that?
No,
Okay.
he may show up, so, since it is the first meeting of the quarter, so
Oh, it is, isn't it?
he is,
This is
he's
April.
likely tied up at another
At
meeting.
Mission Hills, yeah.
Yeah.
He has two councils that meet on the same night. All right, we will go on to Administration and Finance. Nathan?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll let the report stand as submitted. I would just point out one item that was discussed at our Administration and Finance Committee meeting on March 26th, and that is the GFL contract extension. We are ending the 5-year contract, the existing 5-year contract at the end of 2025. Cities, just so everyone is aware, we are in a multi-city agreement that was negotiated in part through the Mid-America Regional Council's Kansas City Purchasing Cooperative Program. I don't remember the exact acronym of it, but so the contract, the base contract with GFL is actually between the Mid-America Regional Council and GFL as the hauler, and then each of the 3 participating cities, Westwood, Roland Park, and Fairway, have their own sub-agreements, but really, like I said, the substance is in the agreement with Mark. We worked hard with representatives from GFL. We are aware of several surrounding agency or cities, as well as cities throughout the region who have gone out to bid recently for solid waste services. And in today's market, if a city goes out to bid, they are going to pay anywhere from $22 per month per household up to $32 per month per household. And our contract that we will be bringing back to you soon will start us out for 2026 at $17.50 per household per month. There are going to be a few changes that we'll need to work on educating the residents about as we move into 2026. We are the last GFL contract, if not in the region, in the country, that has unlimited yard waste, and so we will be moving to a restricted yard waste. Right now, residents can put out an unlimited number of yard waste bags. That limit will be capped at 10 per week, but we will be including 2 weeks per year, one in the spring and one in the fall. Just like we have Amnesty Day now with your trash, where you can set out an unlimited number of household trash bags, we'll have the same thing for yard waste once in the fall and once in the spring. So more information to that on that will come out, but that is a significant deal for the cities of Fairway, Westwood, and Roland Park as compared to what some of the other cities are. There was one city that just their lowest bid was $32 per month per household. So quite a deal for the residents here in the Northeast. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or let the report stand.
Any questions for Nathan? Thank you. Finance?
Just real briefly on finance, sales tax came in at just over $210,000 for, that would have been for the month of February when that revenue was collected. That is above our monthly average budgeted amount of just shy of $205,000. We are trending above where we were at same time last year. In fact, as we look at the sales tax collection in 2024 compared to 2025, there were already a couple of months in 2024 where we fell below the 2023 for the same calendar month year over year. So far in 2025, every month has been higher than both 2024 and 2023. So good trend to start the year there. We'll see how it holds in the months to come. But with that, I'm happy to answer any questions on the finances.
Questions on finance for Nathan? Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Police, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to point out a few activities that we had last month. Some of them you are already aware of, but some conclusions to some pretty important cases that have occurred, or I'll let you know where we're at in the process with some of them. I think I may have mentioned before ICE detainers. We have stopped some individuals with some of our charges, DUIs, for example, that have actually had immigration detainers. So we're experiencing that in Fairway as well. Just want to mention that so the council is aware that we are encountering individuals that have active ICE detainers, and we're taking the appropriate action on that. There was a domestic violence incident where an individual damaged some property of a residence, kicking a door. We took that individual into custody pretty rapidly. You're aware of the shots fired call on how that individual was identified. Our officers worked diligently to locate him. He was brought in and he is charged. He's been charged through our city court. He was interviewed, and so that case is pending. So that he's been identified and charged accordingly. The officers that worked on that were Sergeant Skimper, Rubio, and Miller. They did an outstanding job of locating that individual. The hen house burglary case. Again, our officers, with the help of outside agencies and intelligence information, started linking people together enough so that we have suspects. We identified those suspects, and there are active warrants for those individuals out as we speak. So those individuals have been identified. We're just waiting to pick them up. Officer Krause played a tremendous role in that as well. The other thing I want to mention too is this is actually for next month, but it just happened. There was an auto burglary in Kansas City, Missouri, where one of our residents' vehicles was broken into and she had items stolen, one of which was a coat, expensive coat. And that coat was located on Facebook. She called us. Kansas City's pretty busy. She called us and we contacted that individual who had the coat, and we said we'd like to buy it. And so we arranged for that individual to come over, and we met with them and got the coat back, and we also took them into custody for active warrants and heroin, and everybody went to jail, and our resident got her coat back. Our police department is doing a phenomenal job, top to bottom, handling investigations, keeping a lid on the street. Our new officers are working out phenomenally. Lieutenant Bayless, who's in the chambers today, supervising all of those activities, doing an outstanding job as well. Couldn't be prouder. I'll let the rest of my report stand, and I'll answer any questions.
Chief, that's wonderful news. Know that we appreciate you and all your officers.
Thank you.
Andy, too. Any questions? Yes, Jerry.
Jerry Williams, Ward 2. Hats off to our great police department. Just a follow-up question, and it's my own ignorance. What is an ICE detainer? And
It's an immigration warrant, essentially.
a warrant?
Yeah.
And what, at a high level, what is the appropriate action that our police are taking when
So
that
we're
happens?
we're not really acting on the detainer. We're acting on the crime that occurred in Fairway, which in this case was a DUI. So we took the individual into custody, but as a result of that crime, that detainer holds for the crime and over the top of that detainer. I hope I'm explaining this right. I'm kind of going fast. So still charged with the DUI in Fairway, but immigration law is going to kick into effect because they're in custody, and then that's when the federal agency will take over that case and figure out where that individual is going to go.
Any other questions for Chief? Dan?
Chief, this is a question I think for you and Bill both. I know I think passively mentioned it in the past, but now I'd like to formally ask if, and I'm not looking for an opinion tonight, if we can have a future conversation about what I would call e-bikes that have now turned into electric motorcycles, essentially. I mean, it just amazes me this spring how many more I'm seeing on the street, riding in dark clothes at dusk, helmet or no helmet. I mean, if I didn't say something, I mean, I would just feel bad. I mean, I feel like we're setting ourselves up for somebody to be hurt here, and we should have that conversation.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I think we need to probably be proactive on that, especially with the weather changing, and there's just going to be more. There's not going to be less. Totally agree.
Anything else? Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. I will let my report stand as submitted as well. I would like to point out that for the 40th consecutive year, to dovetail onto your Arbor Day proclamation, we were recognized as a Tree City USA. Right-of-way specialist Rick Allen went up to the ceremony in Lawrence, Kansas, and accepted our plaques and stickers and all that fun stuff and brought it back for us. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Bill? Thanks, Bill. And we're proud of that city of trees. Parks and Rec, Nathan?
Bryce isn't able to be here tonight. I'll let the report stand, and we'll try to answer any questions if there are any.
Are there any on Parks and Rec? You're off the hook. Moving on to the monthly reports of special committees. Tree Board, Bill?
No report.
Okay. Public comment is next for consent agenda items only. I will read those into the record. Item A, approve minutes of previous regular city council meeting. B, approve claims and appropriations, ordinance 1823, March 2025. Is there anyone in the audience or online who would like to make public comments on those two items? All right, seeing none, I will close that public comment section. Consent agenda items are determined to be routine enough to be acted on in a single motion. However, this does not preclude discussion. If a council member requests, an item may be removed from the consent agenda for further consideration and separate motion. Does anyone on council wish to remove an item? Have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Mayor, I move that we approve items A and B of the consent agenda.
Second by Joe. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve consent agenda items A and B. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. New business. One item, consider amendment to 2025 CARS program, cooperative agreement. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor. This is pretty simple and straightforward. All this amendment does is switch the lead agency from the city of Fairway to the city of Roland Park. City Attorney Jim Mossman has looked over, has no issues with the agreement. Roland Park's side of the project has a lot more integral work, and it makes more sense to have them as the lead. They have to do a lot of survey work and stuff for the sidewalk and driveway access, and we're just pretty much a simple straight mill and overlay and some spot curb work. So it makes sense for them to be the lead agency on this project. And since we've already entered into the funding agreement with the county, this is just an amendment to that, switching the responsible city to them.
All right. Council, questions for Bill? Any discussion? No? Okay, I will open this new business item for public comment. Anyone in the audience care to comment on this item? We still good online?
All right, I'll break the ice.
Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Stephen Platt, currently live at 4910 Glendale in Westwood Hills.
at Aberdeen Island there.
Okay,
And-
hang on a minute. I called for public comment on this new business item.
Oh, sorry.
So if you wouldn't mind just waiting a minute?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
That's okay, sorry. Okay, seeing no public comment on item A under new business, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the amendment to the 2025 CARS Program Cooperative Agreement.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this 2025 CARS Program Cooperative Agreement with Roland Park. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the governing body comment. During this time, members of the governing body will be given the opportunity to speak about matters related to the city. No formal action will be taken during this time. Anyone on the council have a comment? Yes, Lee?
Lee Story, Ward 1. I take it everybody by now has noticed the new flashing light and the big sign on Shawnee Mission Parkway at the end of Fairway Road. And I just wanted to thank Mayor Hepperly for her effort to make that happen. As we all know, that's a dangerous stretch with the downhill traffic. The traffic's bad enough on its own. And I believe that putting the flashing light there was a very significant safety move. And on behalf of all the residents, and particularly the ones on the 3 streets at the bottom, thank you.
You're very welcome. Yes, it was much needed. The request came from a Ward 1 resident that lives on Belinder. He was involved in a car accident, and he saw a couple others happen. He asked me what could be done, and I said, well, let me think about it for a minute. And I talked with Bill and Nathan, and I guess, Bill, I'm learning about public works because I thought that was a great idea, and you did too. So I hope it helps.
For clarification, where is this light at? I apparently have missed it.
You just it's the top of Fairway Road.
Eastbound Shawnee Mission Parkway.
And the problem corner was Belinder and Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Yeah, it's as you're, it's a challenging curve there as you're coming around, and you have the lights there that if you're not paying attention and you're not familiar with the neighborhood, you may not be aware there's a stoplight there. Similar to going west on Shawnee Mission Parkway towards Mission Road, there is a warning light there. And as we're getting into this time of the year, it's hard to see those stoplights too as the trees are leafing out. So those are 2 well-placed signals. Hopefully they will do their intended work and people will slow down a little bit.
I'm now questioning my attention to my surroundings because I drive by there twice every day. So.
Whoops. He will tomorrow. Okay, any other governing body comments?
Whitney Henley, Ward 4. Thinking about what Dan brought up regarding the electric bikes, I've heard some feedback with the scooters, especially as kids are going to and from school. The electric scooters are zipping around really recklessly, and I don't think kids know if they should use sidewalk or street, so if that could be kind of on the minds too when we think about e-bikes and e-things that go fast.
E-things.
Thank you.
Accurate description. Anyone else? All right, thank you for your comments. Now,
I will say.
Oops.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
yes, David?
David Watkins, Ward 3. In the spirit of street safety, and as we are getting warmer, I know we just had our Focus on Fairway newsletter, but to the extent we could send out another constant contact to remind walkers of the appropriate side of the street on which to walk, because today was a perfect example as I'm walking on the left side facing traffic. The people coming towards me on the same side of the street, they're trying to figure out, why is he walking the wrong way? Until I finally, my dog was bigger than theirs, so they finally went to the correct side of the street. but then when you look behind, they're back on the wrong side of the street. So I think it's helpful, and I will repeat my request. Some neighbor put up nice little stickers on the street light poles to alert people walking the wrong way that you're supposed to walk on the left-facing traffic. And if we as a city, I don't think stickers cost that much, but if we could find a way to, I'll volunteer to put them up on street lights in Ward 3, but if we could find a way to put those on other streets in the city, I think it would be helpful, because it is a safety issue, especially with people walking with their earbuds, earphones, whatever you want to call it in. Not only can they not see the cars coming towards them, and electric cars, they can't hear them coming. So I think it is something that we want to look into if we could possibly.
Thank you, David. Now anyone else? Okay. Steve, you're up. Public comment for.
Did anybody else want to go first?
Are they, public comment for items not listed on the agenda.
Since I'm out of order, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I got excited. So, Stephen Platt, I live 4910 Glendale in Westwood Hills. However, I have a lot of fondness for Fairway because I still own a piece of property here. And I'll repeat my comment for the Ward 1 Councilman's Lee. I've talked to Jennifer, or I tried to call Jennifer on the statue that got plowed over.
Steve, I hate to interrupt you, but could you get a little closer to the microphone?
Sure.
Some of us octogenarians are having hard.
Oh, sorry, Joe. My apologies.
And explain who Jennifer is, please.
She's in the Homes Association.
Right.
And
She's president of the Homes Association.
yeah. And I just wanted to kind of raise the awareness from that point of view that, you know, if we could get some, you know, if a new base needs to be built or something like that, I let her know that there's a statue over at the antique stores at 45 and 45th and State Line that, you know, I want to say publicly I'll throw $500 in to make sure that that statue gets replaced, but I know there's probably some segregation of funds, whoever hit it and that type of thing. So just a follow-up from that. But the real reason I'm here is you're all aware that Westwood had a public vote regarding their park. And Martha and I have been actively involved in that. And a couple things. One, Fairway is a great community, and publicly stating a master plan of a single-family home residence is exactly what was in the Westwood master plan, but they've kind of got the idea that, you know, more commercial was in their design for that. But they picked the park for redevelopment, and in doing so, it through a very long, complicated vote and protest, the citizens decided no to commercial offices, no to additional debt, but yes to an expanded park. And this is why I'm standing here, because one of the things about this is that very quickly, the residents in the area need to figure out how to come up with funds to either buy the old school or pay off the debt on the church property that Westwood has, do some creative things that have all been suggested there. And one of them involves coercing Johnson County Parks to help us either with a lease purchase or coming up with some funds to thwart a sale of the school, working with the Shawnee Mission School District also. And the idea is to kind of get a task force together, and Lee has already been contacted by Tammy Carter. And the idea is try to get somebody to help volunteer to communicate with Johnson County Parks, or Johnson County Becky Fass, and anything along this line. And I want to make a point that this is not to be a CapEx expenditure to raise the taxes of the residents of Westwood Hills, Mission Woods, who have all expressed some interest in maybe helping future maintenance of the park, which would be, something totally different. So a lot of ideas have been kicked out around, and I'll share just, the things that people have talked about. If they can't buy the whole park, that they do something like happened out at Meadowbrook, where land was saved from the school, but homes are developed on the back end and will bring residential value instead of commercial property value. From that point of view, there were a lot of ideas that have been kicked out. So again, my purpose of standing here is to see if somebody from Fairway would be happy to join in a task force. It's not to ask for any money, but to help guide Northeast Johnson County to preserve some more green space. And I say that on the back end of the outstanding job that Nathan and Melanie did fighting off and preserving the Shawnee Mission Indians School, and how important that kind of space is to the city. And I'd love to say, we have a Lions family that would love to, donate some property and stuff like that. We haven't found them yet. So, that's what we're up against. And certainly you have interaction with Westwood Hills, and because all our kids go to Westwood View School. And hopefully we can get some cooperation and some discussions with the school and the Parks Department, and maybe some foundations or something of that nature to kind of, save some green space in Northeast Johnson County. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else have public comment? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, so my name is Kyle Corcoran. I live at 5943 Buena Vista, so that's in Ward 4. So this is my first time here, but I was wondering, how does the approval process work for getting a house in Johnston, or in Fairway?
How does what?
So like, all these big mansions that are being built and stuff like
Can you
that.
stand back just a little bit?
Is that better?
Your voice is different than
Yeah.
Steve's. Yes, that's.
Yeah,
okay.
no, that's fair. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just curious. So
How-
like, I've been canvassing to people about just renting, and they're concerned that, at least around my house, that they can't afford to buy a house in Fairway. So we were wondering, how does it work when you want to like purchase a house and develop it? Kind of what's the process to that?
Nathan, would you address
Yeah.
that, please?
I'm
Sure.
just curious.
So if you're looking, you mean like to build a new home in
Yeah,
Fairway?
like how does that work? in
Sure.
terms of-
So the process starts at the Planning Commission. We have on our website, there's a packet for new residential construction. The residents or the potential residents would make an application with the Planning Commission, and their architect or designers would work with city staff to come up with the application materials that are needed to go to Planning Commission, and then the Planning Commission would review the new home permit application, or the new home application, which is a separate process from the actual building permit process. But so once a home would be approved through the Planning Commission, then staff goes through and does a detailed review of the actual construction documents, making sure they comply with the city codes and that sort of thing. And then the city staff would issue the actual building permit where construction could begin.
Okay, so like, is that where they determine like how much green they could have versus the actual
Yep,
house?
so all of that information is available online, but there are certain percentages of green space that
Yeah.
need to be maintained.
I knew that.
Yep, all of that and all those calculations have to be supplied by the architect, and then they're double checked by city staff.
Okay, so all the bigger houses in Fairway, they should comply with all that stuff? when
They have to comply with the existing city code. They can always request a variance or an exception, but that is a decision that's made by the planning commission.
Okay, yeah, I know the variances. Part of it, so we were trying to just investigate, because like, I have people around, I rent myself, and we're concerned that we can't buy a house once the lease is up, and we would like to stay here. And some people around me are concerned with that part, and you see these houses go up, you know, and you're worried that's gonna jack up the price for everybody. And you're living in like a like a 1 story, and they're like 2 stories, and it's kinda like, you know, it's just like, what's going on with that kind of thing? So there's at least a concern from my parents, people I know, that this stresses them out. You know? Like I have an 18-month-old son, we would like to stay. It's just a concern. I wonder what city council was doing anything about it, or it's just kind of, we're gonna let these people keep buying these houses and then price everybody out at some point, so. But yeah, I was just curious. Also, I'm running for city council too, so thought I'd introduce myself to everybody here. But yeah, thank you all for listening to me and the
You're welcome.
answer to my question.
We're glad you're here. Hope you come back. Anyone else? Nathan, anyone online? All right. That will conclude our business this evening. Is there a motion for adjournment? It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. We are adjourned.